I'm Jameer Warfield. I attend the University of Albany, and Joe Huber. He's been a mentor to me since I started playing the game of lacrosse. And then I was recently the first lacrosse player out of the city of Rochester. So, yeah, and my major at SUNY Albany is political science. I kind of want to go up and pursue law and in the public policy field, just because I want to be a representative for my community, and I think I can make a huge impact because I've been through the poverty system in Rochester, and also I've seen what a highly ran academic high school looks like. Like, I went to a school named Tabor Academy. It's in Maryanne, Massachusetts. I left East High my junior year, and then I'm here at Albany now. This is my freshman year at Albany. So, where are you from, and how did you kind of start your journey?
First of all, congratulations on making it to Albany. That's pretty impressive. So I grew up pretty much in the Rochester area. We had moved around, and we moved back to Rochester when I was about 11. Went to Catholic schools in the Rochester area, went to Mercy High School, and then went on to a Catholic college in Vermont. During my time in college, obviously I liked learning. I liked arguing. So I decided that I would take the LSATs, which is the entrance exam that you take for law school. And I remember I grew up, I was the oldest of 4 kids. I was the only girl. And I remember telling my mom that I was taking the LSATs, and my mom said, "But you're a girl." So I faced some prejudice right from the outset. Probably not anywhere close to the degree that you faced, Jameer, but I did face some obstacles to becoming an attorney. So I didn't go to law school. I didn't have the financial wherewithal to do it. My parents had helped me with college, and they had 3 other kids coming up that all had to go to college. At one point, my dad was a traveling salesman, and I approached him about working with him, and he told me I couldn't because I was going to be having babies and I'd need to stay home. I couldn't travel. So guess who got that job? Joe. So he's been advantaged right from the beginning, if you ask me. And our mother always liked him best. But anyway, that's a topic for a different day. So out of college, I got a job in... I had worked in the development office at college, so through that I made a connection and I got a job with John Hancock Insurance in Boston. So I worked in Boston for about 15 months, and then I got transferred to an office in Lansing, Michigan. And I was the office manager for that office. And there were men who were the insurance agents, and I maintained the office. And really, they were treated like royalty, and most of them didn't even have a high school degree. And the administrative staff, who was me and 2 others, were treated like we should be their servants, and that really bothered me. So I decided, forget this. I'm going to go to law school, period. So I applied to law schools. I went to Western New England College in Springfield, Massachusetts, which is not the best school for law, but I had gotten into a couple others and maybe was waitlisted. So anyway, I went to law school there. After law school, I met my husband in Rochester, took the bar exam here, and I passed and got a job with a private firm, really, for one attorney at the time. he paid me $125 per week. But the trade-off was if I brought any business in, I could keep 100% of whatever I made on my own.
Oh.
So I worked for him for about 4.5 years. It was a scramble. Practicing law is not easy, especially, well, depending on what avenue you choose to pursue. One of the nice things about law education is that you can do so many different things with it. So for 5 years, I worked for him again. It was a scramble. So I finally left and went out on my own. At the time I went on my own, I had one child, and I worked from home. That was hard because clients know you're working from home, so figure you're available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Right.
So that was a bit of a struggle, in addition to the fact that I had a child. So, it was hard balancing the two. Then I got on the list to get appointed law guardian for children whose parents were going through family court proceedings.
Yeah.
And I appeared several times before one particular judge who called me one day and offered me a job as his law clerk. And those are prime positions. Especially back then, they were prime positions because it was kind of, you didn't have to work too hard and you got a really nice salary. It's not like, when you're a private attorney, you have to bill people and then you have to collect.
Right.
Are we okay to keep going?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Look, you'd have to bill people and collect, and that's not always easy to collect money from people who don't want to pay you.
Yeah.
So, for working through the state, I was only working part-time. I worked 20 hours a week, but I got a paycheck. And in addition to that, I got into the pension system, and I got health insurance, which I hadn't had before.
How did you guys deal with the people who didn't want to pay? Like, what was that procedure like? Was it like a warrant?
Well, if somebody doesn't want to pay you, you'd have to sue them and get a judgment against them and then collect against the judgment. And that's a pain, let me tell you.
It's a lot of paperwork, sounds like.
Not a lot, but enough did. The other thing that kind of balances that you can do is get a big retainer up front. I was never very good at the money end of things, though. So that was a little hard. Anyway, I got to work for the judge. I worked for him part-time, and then I was doing a lot of divorces. I got connected up with somebody who was a mediator, and they would deal with the parties getting divorced. The parties getting divorced would come to an agreement, which was reduced to what was called a memorandum of understanding, and then I'd do all the divorce papers. And on top of that, I got connected up with a couple realtors, so I did house closings. So that sort of provided my bread and butter for quite a while. And then my position went full-time. I had another child. My position went full-time, which was great because the pay was better. And again, I was in the pension system, which I can't say enough about the pension system. I worked for the family court judge for 17 years. His term ended, and I ran for his position as family court judge, and I lost. That was very difficult. Shortly after that, I got a job with the Supreme Court judge as his law clerk. The advantage of that is, first of all, my other judge left, so my position was terminated. I was a personal appointee, so I had to find another job when he left, but also the Supreme Court judge got paid more. Supreme Court, you think of like Supreme Court of the United States. In New York State, the Supreme Court is the trial level judge. So and the ones that act as a appeals court is the appellate division in New York State. So I was at a trial level, and I got paid more, which was nice. I did that for 10 years. And then I went back to family court, and I was a support magistrate. So I heard paternity cases, child support cases, and spousal support cases, not divorce. I couldn't hear any divorce cases. So I did that for several years, and I did it in multiple counties. I did it in Monroe County, where Rochester is located. I did it in Yates County, in Penn Yan, and I did it in Seneca County in Waterloo. And then I retired, and that's the best of all.
So, what would you say to any student in college, and it's early in their career and trying to figure out what law is and want to pursue law? What would you say to them?
I would say to them, the first key to success is hard work. You've got to be able to work hard, work long hours. When I was pregnant with my daughter, I went to night court every single night, Monday through Thursday, because they didn't have night court on the weekends. I went to night court every single night from January 2nd until she was born on March 20th. You have to, I think, to be successful, you have to be prepared to work super hard. My son is an attorney. He's with a law firm in Boston. He probably works 90 hours a week. You know, I think if you want to be successful, you have to be prepared to work hard. The other thing I think you need to take into consideration is where your passion lies. So for me, my passion was in family court. I was able to help start the juvenile drug treatment court, the family drug treatment court. I really felt like I was helping people and making a difference in people's lives. When I was in Supreme Court, it was all about money. And I didn't really like that. So you're going to work every single day. You need to, in my opinion, do something you like.
Right.
So that's the second thing. If you really want to pursue law, work on your writing skills. Work on your reading and writing skills. Writing skills are crucial because you have to be able to put into words what the basis of the lawsuit is. And there's so many attorneys that can't really write well and as a result aren't as successful on their petitions. So I think that all of those skills are crucial. Working hard, finding your passion, and perfecting your reading and writing skills. The last skill that I think is really important, and I probably really developed it over the last 4 years when I was a support magistrate, is listening closely to what people say. Because people don't want to necessarily tell you the truth. They're telling you what they want you to hear.
Right. You kind of got to read between the lines.
If you listen closely, though, people have a hard time covering it all up.
Yeah.
You know? So if you listen closely and you say, well, now wait a minute. Wait. You just told me that you did yada, yada, yada. But then you said you did this. How could you do both? You know, and if you listen really closely, that's going to help you in whatever area of law you choose to pursue because you want to know exactly where you stand when you start out. But again, you know, following your path, you could be mayor of the city of Rochester. Lovely Warren was an attorney. You know, you could be mayor of the city of Rochester. You could be an attorney for a corporation. A couple of the state senators are attorneys. Jeremy Cooney, who just got elected as county legislator or as a state legislator, he's an attorney. So you can do any number of different things. I know a couple attorneys who are head of not-for-profit organizations. The woman who's CEO of Center for Youth is an attorney. So, you know, there's so many different things you can do as an attorney. You can work in the court system. The advantage of working in the court system is a regular paycheck, which I can't emphasize strongly enough. And we had a dedicated pension. Most places don't have a dedicated pension. We had a dedicated pension, which is unbelievable. You know, I think at this point now they've reduced it some, but that's a huge gift. So, you know, it all depends on what you want to do and what your passion is.
Just my next question. My next question is, if you can go back and do something or change the way you approach something, what would it be, and describe the time?
Well, that's a hard question. I think if I could go back, I would not have worked in Supreme Court as long as I did. I didn't find it rewarding. I found it really, I might change that, but it also allowed me to retire when I did too. I will say that I don't know what I would change.
Do you think there
had I
were?
gone with a big firm, had I gone with a bigger firm from the beginning, I might have made a lot more money. But I do feel that, everything I did was a stepping stone to the next place I went, which was important. The other valuable lesson that I learned along the way, when you work in family court, you really go to the heart, people's hearts. You're hitting them in both what matters most, which is usually their kids.
Right.
And when I was a support magistrate, their kids and their money. And those are two really, really tough spots. And one of the things that I learned early on in family court is almost, not 100%, but almost everyone, if you treat people with respect and you explain things to them, they will treat you with respect. And I think that was a huge lesson for me to learn. There were people I was a little afraid of. People would come in and I'd be a little afraid of them. And I would have to go out as a law clerk to the family court judge, and I'd have to say, sorry, the petition you just filed is not going to be granted. You're not going to get temporary custody of your child, even though you think your child's in extreme danger. And this is why you're not going to get temporary custody. And I'd be scared to go out and talk to some of these people. And I found that if I treated them with respect, if I explained to them why, I didn't just say, sorry, you're out of luck, but actually sat down with them and said, look, I know you're concerned. And I know that there are some issues here, but we can't do it because 1, 2, 3, and 4. People might not have been happy, but they would accept it. Always, well, this is kind of getting a little off topic, but
it's okay. That's okay. It's part of the interview.
What's that?
Yeah, I said it's okay. It's part of the interview. You can.
Okay.
It's all about, honestly, you and your journey as a attorney.
Okay. I can't even remember what I was going to say now. I was talking about treating people with respect and explaining to them. I don't know what I was even going to say. I forgot.
Oh, well, I got a question.
Okay.
I got a question about how do you think the school system is helping the cases in family court? Like, do you think the school systems are failing the students socially, or like at like a social worker standpoint of like if the kid need help like at home, like they won't go through the problems in family court? Like, how do you think school and family court relates to each other?
Well, I don't really feel that I'm in a position to comment on that currently. I think that right now, I don't know if you're aware, but the Rochester City school system is experiencing huge issues, including violence against teachers.
Yeah, I grew up, and so I grew up in the Rochester City School District.
Right.
Through K through 11th grade, and then I transferred to a preparatory school.
Right, I heard you say that. I give you a lot of credit, Shamir, for arriving where you are. I will say that I think the school district does its best.
Yeah.
In working with the juvenile drug treatment court. That was a little bit of a different approach. So a kid would be arrested or was having trouble at school because of drug use. They would be referred to the juvenile drug treatment court, and they would get a whole group of services, and they would have a caseworker that would monitor and coordinate those services. And I think that was very successful because it was like an overseer.
Yeah.
But I interestingly, to me anyway, I went to a dinner on Friday night for an organization called Children Awaiting Parents. It's an adoption organization for kids that are hard to adopt. I sat at a table with two recently elected county legislators. One works at Hillside. I don't know what the other one does, but the other woman who just recently got elected had with her a 17-year-old who is going to the city school district, and he's trying to get a mental health program started, like an immediate mental health program started, and he keeps approaching the school board, and they won't even call him back.
Yeah, I see. Like I knew.
I think that there's a huge issue with mental health treatment.
Yeah.
Anyway, but
I
in
agree.
Rochester, it's very. I was on the board of Catholic Family Center, who does mental health treatment. You can't get reimbursed. It's a state issue. You can't get reimbursed at a level where you can continue to provide the services. They're delayed. Many issues.
Yeah, so like I agree with the mental health part, just because I remember from, I would say, 7th grade to about 9th grade, like I grew, like I went about my days like I was just depressed, like and I felt like no one I can go to like address it, so like I started playing sports. Then that's how I kind of got over it. But I had this idea. It was turning buildings in Rochester to a like hydro farms to provide food to like all across like the neighborhoods, and predominantly like the I would say the Ninth Ward area, like how there's like it's on Genesee Street. There's a strip of just homeless people, and I grew up over there. I grew up inside that homeless shelter also over there too, and so like, I literally saw what the bottom looks at in Rochester and pretty much the top. Like I know a lot of people who are very successful in Rochester, and it's and a common theme that I see is that we aren't focusing our attention on the little things, so they're just building up and creating clogs and gaps, and then like the people who got it figured out feel the need to not help and support the whole Rochester bubble. Like there's like I met great people in Rochester. I met a lot of people in Rochester growing up my 19 years of living, and like I do see potential in the city, and my idea of making I called the project like the Save the Block program. It'd be you have like guest speakers come in and speak to people, like empower them. It'd be like you get a free meal, you can bring home fresh organic produce grown from the garden. We offer transportation, because I think that's another big thing, like safe transportation. Like our bus stations are now almost well, I grew up in them and they're not safe. Like I got friends who take the bus at night from their after school programs, late at night programs, and they're just not safe. We need to make our whole system accessible to the youth and the elderly. I think that's important.
I think everything you say sounds remarkable, and I agree with it.
Yeah, that's some ideas I'm working on in public policy class. That's actually going to be my first memo. It's going to be about a policy on about the city I grew up in.
I think that the idea of a hydro farm is excellent. And do you know Malik Evans?
No.
Malik is pretty impressive. Malik's a great guy, and he just got elected mayor.
Yeah, I would love to speak to him and talk more about my idea, because there is a lot of like abandoned buildings. I don't know if they're owned by.
Say that again. I didn't hear you. What?
I said there is a lot of abandoned buildings like in Rochester that could go to good use if.
I agree, and I think your idea is spectacular. Yeah.
And literally, that's it. It can help solve a lot of enduring issues. It's because like I know a lot of kids, even if you bring the fresh produce to schools and you had like make it accessible for kids to take a bag home, or often you can either like send it to like the student and make it private. It's because I know like on peer pressure, it's a big thing, and like people get harassed for taking advantage of resources. That's where I'm from. Like I have friends. Like I noticed like from prep school to the Rochester City School District, like it's popular to get good grades at prep school. At in the city, you kind of get bashed from other students. So like we kind of got to make it normalized that like you need fresh produce, like you need organic produce, and it's going to help your nutrition. And so if we made a nutrition class and brung the fresh produce and like encourage the students.
And kids volunteer in growing it. That would be pretty
yeah. That's actually on my memo too. It's a kid agriculture program. It's where you can send a group of kids over to the factory and watch how the plants are being built and see what the whole mission statement is about the program. Save the block. Like I think that'd be. I think it's a great idea that.
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
I think it's an excellent idea.
Yeah, like I just need it to get to the right ears so that it can happen. Because there's a lot of great ideas that don't be marked upon and actions don't be taken.
That sounds awesome. Do you get back to Rochester?
Yeah. I live in Rochester. Yep.
Okay.
I live in Greece actually with my grandparents.
With what?
With my grandparents. I help my grandparents out around their house.
Okay.
Cut the grass.
I'd be happy to try to arrange a meeting with Malik. I'm assuming he's pretty busy right now, but
yeah, since he just got elected.
Yeah, maybe over spring break or even I think we should give him a couple months in office before we bug him. But
yeah,
maybe. I hate to wait till next summer, but maybe next summer.
Yeah. It's going to come down to resources to get the buildings too, unless we can turn some of the city. But he might know people,
and he might be willing to put something like that forth too, because it would benefit a lot of different people. It might be something worth approaching Food Link about too. Are you familiar with Food Link?
Yeah. Yep.
Or Wegmans.
I think Wegmans would be a good idea. Just for some fact of all we need is seeds. Like so just like.
Yeah. I don't have any connections with Wegmans. I don't know if Joe does, but
yeah, he does. We had talked about the Wegmans family, how they're really a chill family.
Awesome. I think your idea is spectacular.
Thank you. Anything else you want to add last minute about your career? Do you think the time period you started, were there like accepting women in the field? Like, how do you think?
No, I think that when I started, it was pretty hard as a woman.
Yeah. Can you tell me more about that? I think I said, can you tell me more about the being a woman in the field? Like a lot of women will love to hear and like hear from you because you've done it.
Well, I think that as a woman, I was put down or diminished. I remember one attorney came back one day having had a number of drinks at lunch and attacked the little woman doesn't know what she's talking about. I think that there was also a preconception that women were easier on things, more emotional, and that they should be doing family kind of things, stick in the family realm. And I have a lot of friends that didn't do that. There was a certain way you had to dress. It was a little different back then. I think that there were instances of attorneys or judges hitting on women. Whatever.
Yeah.
That was just kind of pretty common back then. So,
yeah.
I know there's a lot of Me Too stuff now. It was just kind of almost accepted back then. That was in the 1980s. I started in 1983.
Wow.
So I practiced for 35 years in one form or another.
How do you think the field can change or grow? What would you like to see more of in the field itself?
Oh, that's an interesting question.
Because honestly, I don't know too many black attorneys or black judges like that.
I think I'd like to see more courtesy. More.
More like loyalty and.
Yeah. There were very few black judges. I think there was one black judge in the appellate division, or when I started, there were very few black judges. Now there are many more.
Yeah.
That's a good question. I don't know. It's a scramble to practice law. If you're practicing in practice, it's hard because you make your money by being in court. You might have to be in 3 or 4 courts all at the same time, and you've got to juggle all that. It's not easy. I guess I maybe see it made a little easier. The way cases are scheduled right now, you could end up waiting forever for your case. I'd like to see something done a little bit better for that, because I don't think it's fair if you have a court case that you come in and
didn't the courts shut down?
What's that?
Didn't the courts shut down and cases are stacked up?
Well, I think that some cases are stacked up. They've done their best by doing Zoom, and there's a lot of telephonic cases that are going on. But I retired in 2018, so I missed all of COVID, fortunately, for which I'm profoundly thankful. I do still have people in the court system, really close friends in the court system, and it's been a real struggle. It's been a struggle keeping adequate staff right now. They're down ridiculously as far as staff is concerned, so getting things out and processed and people into court is very difficult because they don't have support staff.
Do you think law firms are having more counselors on staff to support the attorneys? And
I have no idea, but I totally doubt it, because it's the bottom line is money for law firms. It's
more money.
Yeah. So unless it's a huge firm, most of the small firms don't even really cover health insurance. They'll cover. So, for instance, if you have a family, because my ex-husband worked in private law firms, and they would cover health insurance for him only, not for the family. So you were paying your own health insurance. I think that it's a money game. It's definitely a money game. Organizations like the Monroe County Bar Association would try to provide, an umbrella policy for different people, so it was a little less expensive, but it's a scramble.
Yeah, I think that's I don't know too much about it, but it sounds like money is affecting the way things are run.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's why there's so little in the way of mental health care, because they can't pay for it. There's no way the state won't give enough money to cover visits. So no operation can really run an effective mental health clinic, a mental health treatment facility. It's just not financially feasible.
Where do you...
money is the basis of a lot of things, that's for sure.
Yeah, if you can imagine the money coming from somewhere, where would you think the money could come from or would come from?
Oh, you know what? That's a really tough call.
Government funding. Do you think the government has enough money to spare?
I don't, I feel like I'm taxed enough. I don't want to pay more in taxes. Do you?
No, but I'm
No,
saying
but
like
it seems like there's a lot of waste in government as well.
yeah, like if we reduce the military budget, do you think that, or do you think like I have a family in the military, and like I don't think the benefits are that good. So I don't know if reducing that money would
I agree.
help.
I don't think that I wouldn't want to reduce the military. I think we need a military,
Yeah.
especially when you hear talk about China. What did I read just today is that in China they've developed prototypes of American ships, of American warships, and they've got them out in a desert somewhere for all of the Chinese to practice on. Yeah, I think we need a military. But then I've also read that the Biden administration is talking about giving $450,000 per person to the illegal aliens that were separated at the border. The people who are in Afghanistan that were injured in Afghanistan, the service people, got $400,000 each. They're going to give those people more. That's not right either.
Right.
So I do think that I think this is a whole different topic that we're on.
Yeah.
I think that there needs to be better checks and balances in the government. I think that there's a ton of waste. I think there's a ton of ridiculous things that are thrown into all of these bills, like this infrastructure bill. Some of the things that have been tossed in as asides that cost a ton of money that benefit like 50 people should be outlawed. Unless you decide you want to run for Congress. Hey, buddy, go for it, because then you can get that money for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
So there are advantages anyway.
Yeah, that's dope.
I would love to meet you personally. If you're in Rochester, call me. I would love to get together and meet you. You sound like you have so much potential and so much promise. I would love to see some of your ideas come to fruition.
Yeah, I kind of just like come up with ideas out of nowhere, and they kind of lead to good places.
Well, it sure sounds like it. I would love to do that, and if I could facilitate, you meeting anybody in any way, I'm happy to do that.
Thank you.
Do you have any other questions, Jameer?
No, I think that's great. I got more enough information to get A.
Okay.
And also I learned a lot, and also I'm just happy to be here.
Well, I'm delighted to talk with you. You are an amazing young man.
Thank you.
Call me when you're in Rochester.
I will.